I'm joined here today by Kyle Stewart, who's set to fight Jared Gooden in the main event of LFA 59. Kyle, how are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah, of course, man. So listen, like I mentioned, you're fighting Jared Gooden. What are your thoughts on him heading into this fight?
He's a tough guy, athletic guy. He's got a great record. I don't think he's fought nearly the same caliber competition of the guys that I fought. But he's tough. He's 12-2. You can't really fake a 12-2 record. I really wanted the fight just because he's one of the top-ranked prospects in the country, and I'm trying to get to the UFC. A lot of these other guys that are top prospects are fighting. They're fighting low-level dudes. They're fighting middle-of-the-road guys, and they're trying to push their way into the UFC. And me, I'm trying to seek out the guys, the ones that everybody has, the guys that everybody's talking about is this guy could be there, this guy could be there. Those are the guys that I'm trying to fight. You know what I'm saying? Because at this point, I'm 11-1, and I'm trying to. Unless I'm fighting a top-ranked prospect, it doesn't really do me any good. It's just giving the other guy an opportunity because anything can happen inside that cage. I've seen really good fighters lose to guys that had no business being in the cage with them. So for me, in my mind, I'm like, why would I give a lesser fighter a chance? Because me beating him puts me at the top of that list of all the other prospects.
Of course, and so I'm sure you've studied this matchup a little bit. How do you think you match up with him?
I think I match up really well. He's more of a striker, and I'm more of a striker, so I'm looking to go out and strike with him and make it exciting. I think the fact that he is so skilled, I always kind of fight to the level of my opponents. Most of the time when my fights go to the ground, it's because my opponents tried taking me there and ended up in bad position or whatnot, and then I just don't let him up or I stay there. But I don't think he's going to try to take me down. I think we're going to keep it standing, and it's going to be exciting. So not only is it a good fight, is it going to be a good fight, a good win for me, but it's going to be an exciting fight for people to watch too.
And so we know it's going to be a great fight. It's also going to be the main event. What are your thoughts on main eventing?
Well, I've been the main event for LFA twice, and I fought on the Contender Series. And honestly, I made my pro debut. I was the main event. It was for a title fight. I've been the main event in most of my fights, so it's not like a big deal to me anymore. I'm used to it. But the only thing is, like, it kind of sucks sitting in the back and waiting forever for waiting and hearing the crowd, and you're like, okay, and I have a bad habit of getting way too excited, way too early. Like, I show up to the venue ready to fight, like right then, and then you gotta wait like 6 hours before you can actually get into the cage. That's the only thing that really kind of sucks about it. But I'm excited to be there and be the main event.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess not a lot of people realize, when you're in the main event, you actually have to wait for everybody to finish. I mean, what do you do while you're waiting? Are you just warming up, or are you watching the fights?
I do both. I warm up. I'll have some teammates that are fighting on this card as well. Mario Bustamante is going to fight on it. David Mashad is going to fight on it as well. So I'll be watching their fights, which will help me, take the focus off of my fight and think about them, and then, I most of the time when I'm fighting, it's just when I'm waiting in the back, it's kind of a pain in the ass waiting forever, but it's what it is.
And so I believe in 2018 you fought 4 times. We know a lot of fighters, they'd like to fight 4 times. They're usually not able to. Are you happy that you got so many fights in the year?
Yeah, that's the thing is I'm not trying to sit around. I'm trying to stay active. One, I have to because this is actually how I pay my bills, and I'm making no money right now, so I have to fight about every 3 or 4 months in order to pay rent.
Yeah.
So I love fighting a lot, and I think it's good. It's good to stay active because some guys will fight one time, beat one good guy, and then they'll wait 7 or 8 months. Well, in that 7 or 8 months that you're waiting to get the call from the big show, I've now fought 2 or 3 more times against top prospects. My goal: fight the best guys in the country as often as possible.
And so in your last fight, you got back in the win column. What do you think went right for you in that fight?
What went right for me? I don't know. I didn't lose.
Yeah.
I wasn't happy with that fight at all, man. There's fights that I've had that I'm not happy with. I can cut the strings on people and knock people out cold. So, when I don't, it's not necessarily about doing that. but it's about it's really just about performing to the best of my capabilities, and I think because I was coming off of my first ever loss, and so I kind of went into that fight like, don't mess this up. You can't lose 2 fights in a row. That's the downside of fighting the top ranked prospects is, the guy that I fought was ranked number 1 in the country on a lot of different people's rankings. We're actually teammates now.
Yeah.
But that there's Gauntlet MMA comes out and they push out lists of the top 25 prospects in the country. And so far, I fought James Nakashima, which is a loss. I fought Jaleel Willis, which was a win. And now I'm about to fight Jared Gooden, which I plan on winning. So there's not a single other prospect in that top 10 that's fought another prospect in the top 10. So I think that makes me look pretty good, But anyways, to answer your question, what went right for me in that fight? I won the fight. That's really it. But I didn't perform to how I should have. And I'm looking to perform in this fight. He's a striker, so we're going to keep it standing and hope I get that highlight reel.
And so this fight is going to be taking place in Arizona. That's, of course, where you call home. Do you enjoy fighting in Arizona?
Yeah, I love fighting here in Arizona. I sell a lot of tickets. I get a lot of fans to come. After this one, I'll probably fight out of town. After this fight, I'll probably take a fight on the road somewhere. Because fans, I sell less tickets. If you fight every 3 months in Arizona, not as many people are going to come to support you. If you fight twice a year in Arizona, more people will come and support. So that's just understanding that. And then I sell a lot of tickets on the road too, depending on where. If I fight in California, I'll sell a lot of tickets because a lot of Marines out there.
Yeah.
When I fought on the East Coast, I probably had about 60 people that came to watch me fight, which isn't a whole lot. But I live in Arizona. I fought in Virginia, and 60 people showed up to watch me fight. So that was pretty cool.
And so I believe last time we saw you, I think it was November. Was this the right time frame for your return?
What do you mean, right time? This fight right here?
Yeah, this fight right here. Was this when you wanted to return, or were you hoping to return sooner? I mean, what was
yeah. This is about right. I switched camps from Arizona Combat Sports to the MMA Lab, and that was my first fight back. That was my first fight with the MMA Lab as my camp, and there was some things we needed to get some. I was only there for about 3 months before I fought, so it was still. There's a lot of things I was getting used to. There's a lot of holes in my game that were shown to me that I was filling in. There's a lot of being copacetic, working in unison with your coaches and your corners, and you got to become familiar with them. And then so now after being there, I've been there 6 months, 7 months now. It's a lot. I'm a lot more comfortable. We all have the same vision. You get what I'm saying? So we all have the same. I know what they're thinking. They know what I'm thinking. I know what they want me to do, and they know what to expect from me. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of, you get a new quarterback in the NFL that comes into a new system. It's going to take them a while to work the kinks out. And that's basically kind of another reason why I think I didn't perform as well in my last fight. But now, man, we're clicking on all cylinders and we're moving, and I'm doing some dynamic stuff in there, so I'm excited to go fight.
So speaking of that, now this is going to be your second fight with the MMA Lab. How's your training camp going so far? You guys starting to find the right balance and sort of train with the right people for this one?
Yeah, it's awesome, man. I have so many great training partners, guys like obviously Ben Henderson, Jared Cannonier, Jared Cannonier, David Bulldog Mashad, Tim Welch, Dan Moret, James Nakashima, obviously my former opponent. We're not training partners, so he's helped me out a lot, actually. I've had all sorts of great training partners show up every day, and and that's something that's really, when I first got there for my first, honestly, all the way up until to the fight, I was just getting my butt whooped every day, and I'm not used to just getting beat up like that all the time, and now it's like, okay, I'm been there for a while. I'm starting to gel. I'm starting to move with the same frequency of the other fighters, and I can feel myself getting a lot better. So I feel great. It's great to have these kind of training partners around me, and that's something I'll always be able to say is going into a fight, I know that the guy's not going to show me anything that I haven't seen before, or any sort of athleticism or techniques or anything that I haven't seen before.
And so, of course, we started a new year in 2019. You're going to be starting a fight pretty soon. What are your goals for this upcoming year?
I want to be in the UFC by the end of the year. That's the goal. That's honestly, I'm about to turn 30 years old. I turned 30 years old on January 31st, and I fight on February 1st.
Yeah.
So I turned 30 years old, and then I fight the day after my birthday. The way that I see it is I'm 30 years old. I have about 4 years left in my athletic prime. You get what I'm saying? I got a late start going pro. I didn't turn pro until I was 27. But I have about 4 years left to really, I don't just want to be in the UFC. I want to make a run at the title. I have 4 years to get that done before it starts. Okay, age starts to play a factor. So I want to be in the UFC by the end of this year. That's really my only goal, and hopefully this fight will put me there. If I go in and I have an amazing performance, highlight real Jared Gooden, like I know I'm capable of, then that would be awesome to do that, and then fight. The UFC is coming into Phoenix like 2 weeks afterwards, so somebody falls out or something happens, I'll step right on up and take that fight.
All right, so I just have one more for you. Speaking of this fight, of course, how do you see this fight playing out?
Honestly, I'm not trying. I don't know. I'm just going to go perform. That's really it. Well, what happens, happens, but I'm going to go and I'm going to perform to my best. That's the one thing that I've talked about with my coach is, like, I spend so much time looking for the knockout, looking for the win. Like, I'm not – and that – if the rounds feel like they're short, I know I'm doing well.
Yeah.
If the rounds feel like they're taking forever, then I know I'm not performing well, Because when you go in there and you do and you have fun, it's like microwave minutes in there. There's times when I fought and the rounds felt like they were 2 minutes long, and there's times when I fought and the rounds felt like they were 10 minutes long, So I know if it feels like it's a 2-minute round, then I'm doing the right thing. I just want to go on form, man. I don't know how I see it ending. But obviously everybody wants to get the knockout. That would be amazing to get the knockout. But I can submit him. I can knock him out. I can grind him out into a decision. I've proved that I've won all these different ways. But I just really want to fucking perform.